All right. What's up, co-consuls? It's been a while. It's been a crazy week. I'm glad it's coming to an end. I'm tired. I almost did not come up here, but I have a job to do, so I'm here. I'm here. I'm here to entertain you. Okay. So the fans has rested. I've not really been keeping up with the Karen Reed trial. I've been working. Lori was just convicted today. Here's the thing about Lori, though. Lori's trial started at the same time as Karen Reed, and Lori got two trials in. Okay, so out there in Arizona, they're just flying through everything. Let us get into Karen Reed, though. I see today. Before I got up here, I was just quickly scanning through prior videos, and I see they were busy with a jury charge today. So it sounds like the case has not been handed over to the jury yet. I don't even think they've been closing arguments yet, unless I just missed them. But I did miss a lot. Let's get into it.
Hi, good morning. So I just saw a transcript that was placed here on maybe reference this morning, and there's a motion to limit Dr. Rentschler that I just got that I'm not prepared for.
I've done a lot
So
of
that we'll do later today, okay? All right. So the Commonwealth's motion to call witnesses in rebuttal. I've read everything. Ms. Little, I appreciate you getting your opposition to me. I think I had it by Saturday morning, so I appreciate it. I read all the cases on it. Does the defense want to be heard any further on this?
This is uploaded. June 9th, whatever that was.
Yes, briefly.
Okay.
With regards to Dr. Crosby and Ms. Coon, as the
Speak into a microphone. Speak into a microphone.
With regard to Dr. Crosby and Ms. Coon, the Commonwealth has been on notice that the defendant intends to present a defense regarding the arm injuries, that this was caused by a dog bite. They have been on notice of that, not just for months, but for years. That was presented at the first trial. The Commonwealth does.
I watched a little bit of Lori today. Yeah, Lori has been convicted, so she's not done a very good job representing herself. She should have hired somebody or asked for assigned counsel.
Not have a right to rebut information that they have been on notice of from the start of the case. So their decision to wait for rebuttal to call these two witnesses is improper, and we're asking the court to exclude their testimony. All right. As it relates to Dr. Welcher, the scope of his testimony, our request is that be limited to very specific information, specifically responding to the new testing that ARCA has done. As the court knows, the Commonwealth has proposed a number of new testing ideas, as well as information that is greatly outside the scope of what ARCA intends to testify to. And so we're asking that the court limit their testimony from engaging in new testing that has nothing to do with what ARCA has testified about at this trial. With regard to Dr. Welcher's testimony, the court has made very, very strong rulings that Dr. Wolf, as well as Dr. Rentschler, are not allowed to speak to the credibility of Dr. Welcher himself. And so some of the information that the Commonwealth proposes is to directly attack the testimony of Dr. Wolf and Dr. Rentschler. And under the court's rulings, we're asking that the court limit that scope as well.
And I told you I would.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brennan, do you want to be heard?
Regarding DNA evidence,
Use the mic.
evidence cannot be rebutted until it is introduced because the defense has a number of potential ideas of areas of testimony. It does not compel the Commonwealth to try to anticipate.
I don't know which case are we moving on to. Brian Kohlberger will not be anytime soon. So which case are we moving? No, didn't the YSL trial begin? I suppose we can just get into the Diddy stuff, even though the Diddy stuff is a little I don't know. It's okay. So Ali says, "Yep." Next, we see her. The will be sentencing. I don't know, Lori. I don't know, Lori, because I was just listening to Callie's voice note. I have to respond to her. But Callie said that Lori has created a lot of distraction in other people's lives. I think Lori is not mentally sound though. I'm no psychologist. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm just like I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I don't think Lori is mentally sound. Allie, I am tired. I am exhausted. I cannot. I'm tired. That's why I pushed this to 9 p.m. because my daughter had a party to get to. And you did not email me, by the way. I checked my inbox. I checked it yesterday and today. The only email I got was from Jason. Um, yeah, she was talking about, or he was talking, I'm sorry, Jason. He was talking about Higgins, something about Higgins and Karen Reed having an affair. That's not what I remember from the first trial. From the first trial, what I recall was that they kissed or something along those lines, and there was an exchange of text messages and um, I was about to say, what's her name again? Karen Reed went to Higgins' house, something along those lines. So, yeah, that's as much as I know about that so-called affair. In any event, I digress. I'm exhausted. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I should be able to get enough. I say that. I'm hoping to get enough rest this weekend. How are you and junior co-counsel? Ali said the YSL trial part two is done. They all took plea deals and none of them took it to trial. Okay. Now I'm interested to find out what kind of pleas they got. Were they all sentenced to 2 years or time served or what happened with that? Ali says there's a RICO case going on in Georgia. Rapper Crash Out is who they're accusing of RICO. And guess who's one of the DAs? Oh, Love, no way. I think, let me look that up. I always have a lot of open tabs. I may have come across that RICO case today. Yeah, I think I came across that RICO case today. I have too many tabs open. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I did come across that, the RICO case. So I suppose that's who we move on to next. I don't know. I guess she still has to keep her job. You know who was in Judge McBurney? I watched a bit of Judge McBurney all week, actually. All week I've had Judge McBurney in the background. And Abate, none, not Abate. Max Shard showed up. I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, and he's just as charming as always. So that was nice to see. That was nice to see. Anyways, let's get into this.
or deflect attacks, especially if they're meritless. And so the
You
issue
said
of,
what?
or deflect attacks, especially if they're meritless. And so the issue of dogs and dog DNA does not become relevant until
Oh, and there's a case I randomly watched some case out of South Carolina. I only watched a snippet of it though. There was, I believe, a 19-year-old girl that was on the stand testifying about the mother. The mother and her lover are accused of offing her husband. So that's a case that's going on. I believe it's South Carolina.
defense calls a so-called dog expert. They raise the issue, it's proper grounds for rebuttal. There are three witnesses, Ms. Hartnett, UC Davis, and Dr. Crosby. If Dr. LaPosada is precluded from testifying about dog bites, we would not call Dr. Crosby as a witness. However, regardless of what Dr. LaPosada says, we would ask to call Ms. Hartnett and to call the witness from UC Davis. It is an issue that directly affects the assessment of Dr. Russell, the very expert they chose to call the case in chief. And so we can now, from my perspective, properly rebut it. The second issue regarding Dr. Welcher, limited to the new information. You will see from the testimony or have heard, most of the testimony is new, but we understand it's limited. We don't expect Dr. Welch to have a direct comment on the credibility of any witnesses, but he will address the tests, how he believes would be the proper procedure, and there'll be a number of issues that have been raised on written examination, but he will not in any way have a comment on the credibility of the defense experts.
All right. So the case law supports me allowing this motion. I'm allowing the Commonwealth's motion. So the motion for rebuttal witnesses is allowed. Mr. Brennan has said he will not call Dr. Crosby, depending on the testimony that comes in. So witnesses is allowed. Mr. Brennan has said he will not call Dr. Crosby, depending on the testimony that comes in. So,
is this the wolf test? I think this is.
all right, Jim, I'm just going to give you this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so the motion regarding the testimony of Dr. Lopesada. So the Commonwealth is moving specifically to exclude, there's a motion to exclude irrelevant photographs. We'll deal with that after the main motion to exclude certain testimony. So if we start on page 7 of the report, that's where you want me to start, Mr. Brennan?
Your Honor?
Okay, page 7 of your report. I have some questions. So, Mr. Jackson, Dr. Lopesada cannot opine about the investigation of the case, the law enforcement investigation. She does that throughout her report. So she can't opine to that. But when we get to page 7, what do you say is out, Mr. Brennan? I mean, I've gone through it. I know what I think, but it's the Commonwealth's motion.
I think that her opinion about no object being present to cause a pattern injury is appropriate.
And where are you on page 7, the first paragraph?
Yes, photographs and descriptions of the site. It is the,
All right, I might have a different.
Considering whether I should come up here tomorrow, I don't know. Let me know, Allie. Allie said, shout out to Meg Shard. Shout out to Meg Shard and all public defenders indeed. Okay, so Allie has been watching the South Carolina case. And what do you make of it so far? Because again, the only thing that I've seen is the young lady testifying against her mother, and she was having a difficult time. She literally cried and sniffled throughout that testimony. I've been tired. This week was crazy. This week was crazy. Last week was crazy. I don't know what next week looks like. We'll figure it out.
From page 7. So my page 7. Okay. Okay. Yep.
Dr. Lopesada's proposed opinion that photographs and description of the site where Mr. O'Keefe's body was found show no object capable of producing a pattern injury, I think is appropriate. His body was found on flat, grassy ground, probably frozen and covered with a minimal amount of snow. I agree is appropriate. It is the next paragraph where it begins in the middle of the sentence. It is logical to conclude that Mr. O'Keefe was injured elsewhere and his body was moved to the front line. There is no basis in fact for that. It's the proper opinion.
Yeah. So I told you that on Friday, Mr. Jackson. Great. Okay, so that's out. And Mr. Jackson, again, the medical examiner erred in her diagnosis of hypothermia. Again, that's the improper critiquing of the expert. She can say that it wasn't hypothermia.
They're not
obviously.
really quite well, so.
Okay, so same with the first sentence of the next paragraph. The Wisniewski spots were misidentified. Great. All right, so we can probably do this much quicker then. All right.
Allie, how do you vote? Do we come up here tomorrow? I should probably come up here tomorrow because I have a lot of care and Reed catching up to do.
All right, so page 8 is fine. So now we go to page 10. So this is the dog bites. So if you want to pick it up at, what does the Commonwealth say about this?
At this point, there's no basis provided that she has the training, expertise, methodology to provide an opinion regarding the dog bite.
What's the offer of proof on this, Mr. Jackson?
It'll be more extensive when I establish the foundation testimony. Basically, she's not only done autopsies involving dog bites, the wound pattern recognition related to the source of those dog bites. She's also taught classes on wound pattern recognition, source of coming up with diagnoses concerning the source of specific pattern.
I'm gonna move forward. I like her top. I like her top. All right, let us move forward because I'm parts of me. I'd like to figure out what they're arguing about, but I'm also ready to move on. Give me something. Give me
Good
something.
morning, jurors. So we appreciate your patience. We were in here trying to streamline things, so we got a lot of work done this morning, so thank you. I do have to ask you those same 3 questions. Were you all able to follow my instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left here on Friday? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left here on Friday? Everyone said no or sure. Right. We have Dr. Walker, please.
Oh, is this? I thought it was. What? I thought his name was Wolf. Why? There's a wolf somewhere.
Mr. Harmon, you're still under oath.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
I did have some Karen Reed shorts out. I just never edited the. I never edited the shorts. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I've been
Dr.
busy.
Wolf, thank you for joining us again this morning. I'd like to draw your attention to a picture.
I don't have a lot of time, so let's hear this, and then we need to get into cross-examination if that happens. Wait, what just happened? Was that, I suppose it was Alessi talking the whole time. I thought that was Jackson. Where's Brooklyn, though? I'd like to hear his thoughts.
May I approach you?
Yes.
I'm going to show you. Do you remember seeing that photograph?
Yes,
You were shown this photograph last week, is that right?
correct,
By Mr. Brennan, correct?
correct.
Wait, so
Do you recognize?
cross already happened. I might be on the wrong day then. So I need to find 28. But let's just
The photo is the same photo that you were shown last week.
Yes,
Under questioning by Mr. Brennan.
yes.
And what does that appear to be a photo of, just generally?
It appears to be a photo from the test dummy from the 29 mile per hour impact test.
And does that appear to be a true and accurate photograph of the condition of the dummy following that 29 mile an hour crash test?
Yes,
With the court's permission, I'd like to enter this as next in order, please. If you could hand that to the court order.
Exhibit 218.
Permission to present that, Your Honor?
Yes.
Is this the photograph?
yes,
okay.
Dr. Worth, first of all, what caused the damage? Well, let's start with the most basics. Which arm is this, left or right?
This is the left arm.
What position was, you called this dummy Rescue Randy, is that right?
Correct,
What
yes.
position generally was Rescue Randy in upon impact during this test?
He was oriented such that the right side of his body and his right arm would be contacted by the vehicle.
Contacted.
What caused the defects in the and the damage to the sweatshirt as we see it here?
That was due to the interaction from the Rescue Randy sliding on the pavement surface to his position of final rest.
Is that sometimes called road rash?
Yes.
Did you see any road rash in any other place on Rescue Randy in this photograph?
Doesn't appear so in this photograph, no.
Can we highlight the face? What about there?
Sorry, I thought you were talking specific to the clothing. Yes, the as I mentioned on Friday, there were signs of road rash to the body of the dummy itself, on the face and on the
All right,
torso
let's
and
do
arms.
that, Allie.
Can we
What time's a good time for you? Can we do 9 p.m. tomorrow or no?
zoom in on the sleeve a little bit?
Or is that too late?
Do you see any staining on the sleeve as well as the defects, the holes and the tears?
Yes.
What is that staining from?
Again, just from that sliding contact with the pavement, so it's just likely debris and kind of a film from the pavement surface being deposited onto the material.
With regard to John O'Keefe's sweatshirt that you reviewed photographs of, did you see any other defects other than the right arm and the fact that it was cut off of him medically?
No.
Any other indication or any indication whatsoever of anything that you see consistent with road rash?
No.
Okay, let's go back to full frame.
Back to Friday.
Just a second image I'd like you to take a look at. If we can have the lights for just a second. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
It is the backside of the test dummy from the 29 mile per hour full-on impact test.
Which arm is featured in that photograph?
That would be the right arm.
Move that into evidence as next in order, Your Honor, with the court's permission.
Exhibit 219?
Permission to display.
Yes.
Does that appear to be the right arm of Rescue Randy as he's face down?
Yes.
Is that following the impact?
Yes.
Do you see any? Were you shown this photograph by Mr. Brennan on cross-examination?
No, I was not.
Can we highlight the right sleeve just a little bit, please? Do you see that defect in the sleeve?
Yes.
Do you also see some artifacts above that defect, above and to the left?
Yes.
Can you tell what those are?
They appear to be fragments from the back window of the test vehicle when it shattered.
Does there appear to be any additional, let's go back to the full frame. Does there appear to be any additional defects on that particular sleeve?
There appears to be some material transfer, likely from the pavement, and also some road rash.
Does that appear to be transfer from the pavement?
I think that might be a shard of glass from the back window.
What was the condition of the back window after this test?
It was completely shattered.
The defect that we're looking at, that large gash, was that from road rash sliding on the pavement?
Yes.
If we can go back to the full frame, please. I'd like to show you an additional photograph.
What's up, Jason? Look at Real Thing.
Do you recognize?
Let's see. Just a heads up. I will be live tomorrow. Real Thing. I don't know if you're available or not, but I have a lot of catching up to do because The last 2 weeks were really, really rough for me, but I'm here. Okay, Allie says I can do 9 p.m. tomorrow. That's perfect for me. We're gonna get up here and do a 50 big. All right, so I am committing to 9 p.m. tomorrow. So 9 p.m. tomorrow, I'll be up here, and then we can get into. This is actually perfect for real thing because we need to address the Wolf. We need to address Dr. Wolf, and not just that. This is the opportunity when I'm going to address your questions because I was going to create separate videos. I just do not have the time. I really, really, really do not have the time. So, and I was admitted to federal court. I'm not going to tell you the day because they do post that stuff. They do post the attorneys that were admitted. And if somebody has a lot of time on their hands, they can go through the whole list of every district court that exists in America to try and figure out who I am. But yeah, I was admitted to a federal court, and I'm really, really happy about that. All right, let's see. What's up, real thing? What's up, Jason? Oh, there we go. I missed a message or text. So Jason says 37 scratches on his arm, but only 9 holes in the hoodie sleeves. I'm still trying to catch up. Okay. So real thing says we have a lot to address. If there's specific timestamps you want me to react to, let me know because I just the last 2 weeks were really insane, really, really insane. I cannot wait for the week to end.
Recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
What is it?
It is the front side.
And as far as next trial, I think Allie and I have decided that we're moving on to Crash Out. Okay, that's who we could do the South Carolina stuff, but I know spouses killing each other. People should not be killing each other, anyways. But I don't know if I want to do that. That's a little. That's not for me. Okay, real thing says, so honestly, I know you're very busy and don't have time. I don't. It's crazy. I really don't have time. I don't have time. I'm exhausted. My kid's going through puberty, so she's like, I don't know. This is like terrible twos. Like, if anybody has kids and they've dealt with 2-year-olds, this is above that. I don't know how to handle any of this. So yeah, she does apologize though. I get like 3, 4, 5 apologies in one day. So, but it's a lot
Of the test dummy from the 29 mile per hour full-on impact.
Yeah, but let's do that real thing. Let's address those specific issues tomorrow. If you cannot make it, that's fine. I'm just gonna pull those. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? Let me figure out if I'm gonna have to. Let me think about it because I don't want to play other people's content on here. I don't want problems, but let me figure that out.
Test.
Does that appear to be a true and accurate depiction of the condition of Rescue Randy in that sweatshirt after that 29 mile an hour impact?
Yes.
Move for the admission of that photograph, Your Honor, is next in order.
Okay. Exhibit 220.
Permission to display?
Yes.
Can you describe what we're looking at in this photograph?
This is mainly showing the upper body of the test dummy from the 29 mile an hour impact test, showing the road rash to the front side of the body.
Were you shown this photograph on cross-examination?
No.
What caused the holes in the bodice of the shirt? In other words, the part that covers the chest and the torso?
After the impact, the dummy was projected and sliding on the pavement surface. So again, this is consistent with the front side of the body making sliding contact with the pavement, creating those abrasions and holes. And again, that asphalt material transfer that you see on the front.
Can you go back to the full frame, please? Do you see additional road rash? Take a look at his right arm. You see additional road rash on Rescue Randy?
Yes.
On both the fabric and the arm itself?
Correct.
Go back to full frame. And can you see his face as well in this photograph?
Yes.
Are those the chin and nose defects that you saw?
Yes.
Are the defects in the shirt that you see here consistent with the condition of the shirt of John O'Keefe as you saw it in the photographs?
It is inconsistent.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
How much longer?
Another photo.
Hey,
I'd like
it's on
to
the
show
stand
you-
for quite some time.
Do you recognize, do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
What is that? We can take this down.
It is the rest position of the test dummy after the 29 mile per hour impact test.
Were you shown this on Friday?
No.
Is that a true and accurate depiction of the condition of Rescue Randy just from a different angle after that 29 mile an hour impact?
Yes.
Move for the admission of that photograph.
Okay.
Oh no, Jason, that the YNW Melly courtroom, they always have some really bad, they have bad audio. They have terrible audio in that courtroom.
Exhibit 221.
Permission to display that photograph here?
Yes.
Is this an overview of the entire body of Rescue Randy after that impact?
Yes.
Take a look at his torso, the exposed portion of his torso. Do you see road rash on his exposed torso?
Yes.
Do you also see that the road rash that you earlier described on the bodice of the shirt, the front of the shirt?
Yes.
And what about, let's go back to the full frame. Is there also road rash on his jeans?
Yes.
If we could go back to full frame. Have you ever heard a phrase, knocked out of your shoes?
Yes.
Where are the dummy shoes?
They're still on his feet.
And this is at an impact of 29 miles per hour, correct?
Watch the form of the question.
Sure. What was the, tell us one more time, what was the speed of this impact?
This was a full on 29 mile per hour impact.
We can take that down. May I approach?
Yes.
Take a look at that photograph and tell me if you recognize what's depicted in it.
Yes.
What is that?
It is the back of the test Lexus after the 29 mile per hour impact test.
Is that a true and accurate depiction?
Real thing saying that since I'm still building this channel, she suggests that I not play other YouTubers' content. But when you're busy in the future, you and I can further discuss the conspiracies. Yeah, the conspiracies, because I would be reading these. There's somebody literally, I don't know when I recorded the video. I just did not have a chance to. I did not have a chance to edit the video. Probably I'll, it's already recorded, so I might as well just cut it down and post it, even if the trial's over by then. But a lot of these people, a lot of people actually think they've solved the case. So I don't know. Yeah.
Of the condition of
I
that.
mean, what we can do, honestly, I could come up here on Saturday as well if you guys are interested, because I have a lot of Karen Reed catching up to do. So let's work through Friday, see how Friday goes. Once I've caught up enough real thing, I don't know, a Saturday, Sunday, that's a problem. I keep talking about Sundays and then I go off gallivanting and doing all types of random things. But I think it would be a fruitful discussion for me to have covered at least most of the defense case, and we can pretty much drop the link and have a real discussion that way.
That Lexus following that 29 mile an hour impact.
Yes. And I should be more specific. It's post the 29 mile per hour impact with the test dummy, not just the arm.
Understood. Thank you. The collision that caused the damage to Rescue Randy that we've just been looking at?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Move for the admission of that photograph, Your Honor.
Okay. So 222.
Permission to display that?
Yes.
Is this the photograph that we were just talking about?
And I've been random, but I've been looking into tickets for the World Cup next year. Those things are pricey. They're really pricey because I don't watch soccer. I don't really watch soccer. I watch women's college basketball. I watch the WNBA, but I need a new team because the Chicago Sky, I don't know. They have problems. They have real problems. But I don't really watch soccer. One of my friends, though, her country qualified for the World Cup. Ecuador qualified for the World Cup. So I want to go and support, but the tickets are outrageous because I was looking at Vancouver. I was probably also looking at Toronto, but I don't know unless I go sit in a bar with my kid or something. They're ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
And this is the condition of the vehicle after that rearward impact with Rescue Randy, correct?
Correct.
Dang, they have some.
Did the subject vehicle,
They have money to be.
the subject vehicle photographs that you looked at, were those consistent or inconsistent with this photograph?
Those photographs were inconsistent compared to the test.
Was there anything consistent about the shirt that you were shown on Friday, the left sleeve that you were shown on Friday with John O'Keefe's actual sweatshirt?
Was any of that consistent with?
Correct. Was that consistent or inconsistent?
All right.
Now that you've
Do
seen
you know because I'm just going through the news here and I see that this is from the Boston Globe. They're talking about it's behind a paywall. I'm not paying that. In any event, is it set in stone that closing arguments are tomorrow? Because if they are tomorrow, then that's what we're going to cover.
in all the photographs with the condition of the shirt that John O'Keefe was wearing on January 29th.
The test clothing was inconsistent compared to that of Mr. John O'Keefe's.
Thank you.
Is that it?
You were asked on cross-examination several times about the weight of the hybrid 3 arm. Do you recall that series of questions?
Yes.
You were asked how much lighter the hybrid 3 arm was than the static estimate arm, correct?
Correct.
I want to make sure we're clear about this. The hybrid 3 arm is the physical arm that you attached to the ATD and did testing with, correct?
Correct.
The statistical estimate arm is something in the ether, right? It doesn't exist.
Sustained.
How would you describe a statistical estimate arm?
It's probably from taking a sample of the population and getting an average and a high and a low.
Okay. Is that a physical arm? You touch and feel?
No.
Okay. Do you have any information based on everything that you've reviewed at all about the actual weight of John O'Keefe's right arm?
Nothing in terms of a weighed measurement of the arm. No.
Okay, so
What was the
Jason is giving me a heads up. Jason says, "So it gets messy here." And a little bit with Brennan being unethical, and the judge has to give jury instruction. Ooh, okay. I need to hear that. What's up, Brooklyn? Brooklyn says, "How are you planning on flying to Vancouver?" Yeah, I know. I saw that news today as it broke, and I was like, I don't know. That's 2026, but I don't know. I might take a ferry out there. Real Thing says it's set in stone, closing arguments and jury charge tomorrow morning. Okay, so I'm not going to watch any of that at all. I don't even know that I can I? Ooh, tomorrow I just realized that I'm only working a half day tomorrow because I'm taking my daughter and her little friend out for pizza. So tomorrow I can start early. I cannot commit to time because I don't want to rush them. We should be done probably by 4. So let me schedule tomorrow's live for, I'm gonna schedule it for 5 just to be on the, oh, girl, don't complicate things. Let me think about it. Let me think about it. Let me think about it. We might have to break it up because, again, I do parent, so I cannot just sit in front of the computer um, for extended. But tomorrow, actually, let's have 2 sessions. Let me just think about the time. No, tomorrow we can definitely start. I'm gonna pre-schedule. We'll have a live that starts at 9 p.m. That's when we're gonna pick up. But I'm also gonna have a live that starts at. I'll schedule it for 4 just to be on the safe side. But if I do return home sooner than that, maybe around 3 or 3:30, then we start sooner so we can just get through all of the closing arguments in one day. Okay. Okay, so that's set in stone. Jason says closing is tomorrow, should start deliberation after lunch. Okay. All right. And then stop, Zeta. Sorry, I'm parenting. Okay, so Real Thing says Zeta. I'm sorry, folks. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so Real Thing says, "So since the jury is about to begin, stop, is about to begin deliberations tomorrow, what do you think of the evidence the Commonwealth presented to the jury? Did the Commonwealth meet their burden beyond a reasonable doubt?" Um, Part of that, again, part of that has to be balanced with what the defense has presented in terms of were they able to pinpoint to a reasonable doubt. That's why I need to catch up with the defense testimony for the defense case. The defense, I really just want to focus on Dr. Wolf, though. That's who I really Real Thing says she's adorable in the background. Yeah, for defense, I really want to focus on Dr. Wolf.
Percentage that Mr. Brennan gave you in terms of how much lighter the hybrid 3 arm was than the statistical estimate arm that he gave you?
From what I recall, I think the percentage was 26%.
Did you calculate that yourself, or did you take Mr. Brennan's word for it?
I believe I took his word for it.
Do you recall what the weight of the hybrid 3 arm was exactly?
9.38 pounds.
What is the difference, if you can calculate, what is the difference between what was the statistical estimate arm, the number that Mr. Brennan gave you?
I think I heard him say 11.8, but I also think he said at one point 11.6. So I'm not sure of the kind of the final number he landed on.
Does
Sustained estimate.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Brooklyn knows them all.
does 11.86 sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
Real
Let's use
Thing,
11.
you know. I can't say. Cannot say. I don't know.
11.86. You have a
I
calculator?
don't want Brooklyn to attack me.
I do.
With the court's permission, could Dr. Wolf use a calculator if he needs to?
Yes.
Thank you. What's the difference between 11.86 and 9.38? Just in raw numbers?
Can you do that? Does he need a calculator?
You're looking at just
Look at that guy up here, engineer, I believe. Hold on. I don't think his name started with a W. He is the founder of whatever company the prosecution went with. That guy was literally calculating. I guess that's he's an engineer. He's an engineer.
the difference between those two.
Subtract
Okay.
9.38.
Yep. 2.48.
Is there does that mean there's a 2.48 pound differential between the statistical estimate arm, the heavier arm, and the 9.38 arm that from the hybrid 3?
Yes, that's the difference in pounds.
All right. How would you calculate how much lighter? What's the proper way to calculate how much lighter in terms of percentage the 9.38 arm is?
You would want to do a percent difference calculation.
Divide 2.48 by 11.86.
Sustained. Watch the form, Mr. Jackson.
How would you tell the jurors how you would calculate that percentage difference?
You would
We're
subtract the
going off the
11.86 minus the 9.38, and then you would divide by the sum of those two and divide by 2, the average of them.
Can you do that calculation?
Yes.
All right, I'm tired of the numbers. Let's get into something. I say that I actually work with a lot of numbers. When I initially went to law school, when I decided to go to law school, I was like, oh, I'm going to become a lawyer. I don't need to do numbers. I was wrong. Very wrong. Very, very wrong. I mean, in a regular criminal trial, you don't really encounter numbers or formulas that much, but in workers' compensation, oh my goodness, we're calculating, it's spreadsheets, it's this and that. You have to figure out every average weekly wages. You have to figure out a compensation rate. You have to calculate, what is this? You have to calculate, what is this, benefits from the date of injury, the date of disability. You have to have what cost of living adjustment. It's way, way too many numbers, way too many numbers.
Series of questions about whether the weight differential in the hybrid 3 arm
science
would make a significant or material difference in your testing as it pertains to the velocity of the vehicle that you were testing.
Jason, can I get a timestamp for when you said it gets messy? Because I cannot be up here too long. I've not been getting enough sleep all week. I'd like to get at least 6 hours tonight at a minimum.
Remember those questions?
So watch the form again. Ask a different question.
Just foundationally, were you asked about weight differential of the hybrid 3 arm?
Yes.
Were you also?
I don't know. What do you guys think of the audio? Because I never replaced my microphone. I don't know what my kid did to my microphone. I never replaced it. So I don't know if the audio is not too good, then I'll definitely replace it. But if it doesn't make a difference, then
asked about whether it would make a material difference to the testing if you didn't adjust for the velocity.
Sustained.
What were you asked in terms of, what was the question that was posed to you about the weight of the hybrid 3 arm
I don't know that you'll remember
versus the velocity of the testing?
That there would somehow be an influence on, I think, wanting to make a reduction to the velocity of the vehicle.
Does that make mathematical sense to you?
Sustained is to that point.
Would that have a material difference? With the weight of the arm at 2.48 pounds, would that have a material difference?
Sorry, I
can listen to it.
found a timestamp, so that's what we're moving to. Okay, there's something's going on here. They're claiming the judge is throwing a tantrum. I don't know that to be true, but let's get into it. Something's definitely going on. Something's definitely going on. You know, I love a good battle between Alessi and Brennan. Something's going on. All right, let's get into it. Come on. Now they're at a recess.
All right, so I'm told counsel wanted to see me.
Issues has arisen related to
Can you use a mic or something?
cross-examination of the last witness, and Mr. Alessi would like to address the in detail about that.
All right, so the last witness was your witness. Is there a reason?
This is a separate issue, and I'm I'm asking Mr. Leslie to address the court on this.
Okay. What do you want to tell me, Mr. Leslie?
Okay.
Bear with me a moment, Your Honor. I need to put on evidence gloves.
What is it about to touch? All right. I don't have time for you, Leslie. Come on.
This trial, Your Honor, the defense moves for a mistrial with
Oh,
prejudice.
Leslie is so dramatic. He is so dramatic. Come on, Leslie.
Based upon intentional misconduct that just occurred before the court and for the jury.
When?
And what I'd like to do, Your Honor, this regards the hoodie. In this regards, questioning and representations and questioning by Mr. Brennan.
Okay.
And what I'd like to and need to do, Your Honor, is to have 2 documents marked as exhibits. And then I am going to use exhibit 88, which is an evidence, which is the hoodie, which is why I'm putting on the evidence gloves. And it will become quite obvious very shortly what the issues are.
All right. So what are the things that you want to have marked?
What I would like to have marked. What I would like to have marked, the first document, and I want to get the specific title. These 2 documents are from the criminalist file, specifically Ms. Maureen Hartnett's notes regarding cuttings from the hoodie sweatshirt that's in the crime lab file folder. So the first is the back of the hoodie. So with Your Honor's permission, I would have that marked for identification.
All right, come on.
Please have the next marked in order exhibit for identification.
Exhibit ZZZ for the identification.
ZZ.
Just give me a minute to read this, Mr. Leslie.
All right, so Real Thing says, that is fair. Real Thing says, I told her to wait until the Commonwealth rests, and then I'd give my opinion if the defense had not put forth a case. One day, I would like your opinion about the Commonwealth's case. You're going to have to give me a moment to just to gather my thought. Real Thing, Saturday might be a good time to do that, right? We can go through witness by witness. Again, my last 2 weeks have been really, really crazy. Like really crazy. I am shocked I'm doing this live right now because I'm really exhausted. Okay, Real Thing says audio's fine. Brooklyn. SO answer Voice of Reason's question. We need it on the record. Real Thing says yes, record please. Okay, Real Thing says, yeah, here we go. Let's see how brilliant SO thinks. Brilliant. Brennan is. There's no question about how brilliant Brennan is. Brennan, again, to me, of all the prosecutors we've watched up here, Brennan by far is the better prosecutor. A second, though, a close second has to be Lewin from that what was the trial? The ASAP Rocky trial. Lewin is also a very skilled prosecutor. There's no question about that. Like the Lori prosecutor, Miss K, one could argue she's good because she has secured convictions in both cases. But the thing is, she had a straight shot, and she had a straight shot. The facts were in their favor. Okay, the facts were definitely in their favor. And apart from that, Lori's no goddamn lawyer. Like Lori's not a real lawyer. So that's how I assess what makes a good attorney. Is not, you can have a really good case and you don't have to do much. You don't have to show much skill. But there's no question that Brennan is a brilliant attorney. Okay, so Brooklyn says, good point. Okay, Jason, don't come for me now. All right, let's get
So is it that there are no holes in the back? There were no.
I'm gonna try and stop pausing so much, just because it's about 10. I want it to be done by 10, but we'll give it another 20, 30 minutes.
Holes in the back of the sweatshirt.
That's only part of it, but that is in fact the case, Your Honor.
Okay. I can't tell entirely from ZZZ, but if that's your argument, why, for identification appears to support that.
Your Honor, may I have the exhibits marked for identification back for my argument?
Okay, the stuff back.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Madam Court.
And here's the thing, Brooklyn, you are the one person, okay? You are the one person that is proof that Brennan is a good attorney, because Brennan has convinced you otherwise, okay? Real Thing says, I think someone in the O'Keefe family gasped or something because Brennan stopped and looked at the family after he admitted what he did. Let's get into it, because I don't know what he did. So,
Your Honor, what we just saw is Attorney Brennan question Dr. Wolf with regard to the hoodie sweatshirt that heretofore has been in the plastic casing for trial. And this is what happened was Attorney Brennan held up the casing with a hoodie sweatshirt, went to the back of the hoodie sweatshirt. First point to note, Mr. Brennan did not show.
unless he speaks like me, unless he does not make a point, like unless he's just talking, I'm like, make a point.
Mr. Jackson, the back of the hoodie sweatshirt didn't give Mr. Jackson an opportunity to look at it.
Can I just ask a question? I noticed that it was over here at the witness stand this morning, so I assumed everyone was aware that something was going to happen with it. Is that not the case, Mr. Jackson?
That is not the case, Your Honor. The
Okay.
first time I realized that line
Okay.
of question was going to be asked was when Mr. Brennan pulled the casing out.
Okay.
Mr. Brennan.
Go ahead, Mr. Leslie.
Thank you, Your Honor. So to do it in order, Mr. Brennan takes the hoodie sweatshirt in the casing without notice, shows it to Dr. Wolf, and shows the back of the hoodie,
Okay.
which has certain holes, and I'm going to limit calling them holes to do this chronologically. I'm going to refer to exactly what they are in moments.
Okay, so I need to see it. I know you've
I
got
don't know, Alessi, can you just like make your point?
gloves on. Where is it right now? It would help me if you held it up for me now,
Absolutely, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Leslie.
So here is the back
Okay.
of the hoodie.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
It's very obvious
I see.
that these are cutting holes cut by the criminalist. And I'm going to get to back to this in a moment. But I would like to do it and certainly entertain any of Your Honor's questions, but in a logical order.
Sure. So I'm not.
Alessi, you've been saying logical for the longest time. Like, can you just make your point? Okay, he's about to make his point. Okay.
What about the jurors and lunch? How long do you think this will be?
I think this will take about 10 to 15 minutes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay.
Alexa, stop. Hey, can you guys go on? Oh my goodness.
Flow back going.
Mr. Leslie.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I just want to get the flow back going here in the logic. So, and I'll do it quickly. So Mr. Brennan grabs the hoodie sweatshirt inside the casing, doesn't show it to Attorney Jackson, goes up. We have no idea that this was going to happen. Goes up, confronts the witness, Dr. Wolf, shows the back of the hoodie sweatshirt. To my knowledge, the first time the back has been referenced of the hoodie sweatshirt. Shows Dr. Wolf, confronts him, and basically says, couldn't these holes be caused, and I'm paraphrasing, from a fall backwards?
Okay.
Obviously positing in the juror's mind after, remember, we just saw all kinds of videos with regard to Rescue Randy and impact at 24, 29
Okay, so
miles.
what was Wolf's response? Did Wolf respond in the affirmative?
An hour, more aptly 29 miles per hour, and damage to the hoodie.
I probably should not have fast forwarded. I should have watched the whole thing, but I just don't have time. Let's see if we can actually find him holding up the hoodie. Let's see. Here we go. Is that it? It's too quick. Cannot tell. Oh no, girl.
Etc.
I'll be waiting for you.
So what then happens is Dr. Wolf is asked a series of questions, very much with the indication that somehow.
Okay, so Brooklyn says, Alexa, stop. So Brooklyn says Brandon is a great attorney, but apparently he lost his mind impeaching a very old woman. What do you mean by that? Are you saying that he's supposed to treat a witness with kid gloves just because she's very old? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case, you probably should not be getting on the stand. Alexa, stop. Okay, Brooklyn says, IMO, the old woman, handled Brandon's shenanigans very well. Real thing, I'm still here listening, but have to drive to Downers Grove and then back home. All right, and then I can barely see. Russell didn't go well, blah, blah, blah. Hank agreed that it was a mistake, made the hoodie. Brooklyn, La Prozada, is that how you said it? Handled Brandon better. No spoilers. Right, like I don't even know. Apparently, let SO see how brilliant Brandon is. You're not gonna change my mind real quick.
In the clear
I hope you're not texting while you're
implication that these holes are being caused by road rash, and that the holes in the back of the hoodie sweatshirt, Exhibit 88, could have been or likely were caused with regard to some type of impact. Clearly presented to the jurors with that in mind in that questioning. Here is the basis for the mistrial with prejudice.
Okay.
Those holes in the back of the hoodie sweatshirt are clearly, unequivocally, without doubt, caused nothing to do with any type of event on or about January 29th, 2022.
So do you have something you said when you said obviously cut by the criminalist? Do you have something that shows that chart that I couldn't understand quickly? Is it on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
What we have is two documents to show that.
Right. So the second one, when was that provided?
These, when you say provided, you mean with regard to when did the defense get these in a discovery? Let me get the date, Your Honor.
Sure.
Karen Reed knows the date. Everybody else is just, I don't know. They're in La La Land.
Notice of discovery, May 2023.
Okay, thank you.
And I will note, Exhibit YYY. The only, I believe, I'm holding up YYY, which is the back of the hoodie, I believe is the only one, to my knowledge, not put into evidence, not turned into evidence. This is the one that would clear.
I'm sorry, he's talking in circles, so I'm just going to jump to Brandon to figure out what his response is, but Brooklyn said he apologized, so let's.
It is becoming evidently clear the more desperate the prosecution gets because it can't prove its theory, including its own medical examiner can't support them, that they're now resorting to conduct like this. Your Honor, at some point,
Go back.
prosecution is supposed to be held. Ms. Reed, again, is entitled, like every other defendant in this wonderful Commonwealth,
All right, Ali.
to a fair trial.
Leslie's definitely
The prosecution is supposed
I'm too tired to be listening to Alessi. Like, I really like Alessi. I think so far, I mean, he did perform a bit poorly in the cross-examination of, I don't remember, one of the W's. Cross-examination was poor. But other than that, I do think that he is a better attorney than the other defense attorneys in this case.
to be held to a higher standard,
Right.
to do justice, to create a fair trial. This is the antithesis of a fair trial.
Okay.
Miss Reed's rights under the Constitution and the Declaration of Rights have once again been trampled on, and it is becoming evidently clear
How he's
the
preserved.
more desperate the prosecution gets because it can't prove its theory, including its own medical examiner can't support them, that they're now resorting to conduct like this. Your Honor, at some point, this has to come to an end. At some point, Ms. Reed's rights have to be protected. At some point, confidence in the judicial system, the public's confidence in the judicial system, that prosecutors will conduct themselves with their duty to present a fair trial. That has to be enforced at some point for Ms. Reed to receive the fair trial that she and every other defendant in this Commonwealth is entitled to.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Thank
Brandon,
you,
what do you have to say?
Mr. Brennan.
Your Honor, my brief review of the lab
Hold on.
paperwork.
Let's see. If we're going back to, I actually miss Obag. If we're going back to, that's random, but I do miss Obag. If we're going back to Real Things message, or somebody on here talked about a Karen Reed member gasping. I cannot find it. Am I gonna find? I cannot find it. So let's just move on. So I was trying to figure if that was the moment when he gasped.
Your Honor, my brief review of the lab paperwork and looking at the hoodie, it appears that I made a mistake. And so I think what should happen is there should be a curative instruction. There should be a stipulation. The court should instruct the jury that during
He's a brilliant attorney. Like this guy is brilliant. Okay. I'm going to give you two reasons why he is brilliant. For one, he has integrity. Okay. That's what you want of your prosecutor. If you realize that you've made a mistake or incorrectly argued, then you correct the record. Okay. The second, he gives a solution. He basically asks for a curative instruction. That is what I figured would be happening just because the case has proceeded, because this was day 29 and I don't know where we are, 30, 31, 32, somewhere along those lines. But again, to me, Brennan has integrity. He is not somebody that's going to, based on what I've seen of him thus far, another person could have potentially come up here and argued this, that, and XYZ. And again, the reason I have seen it not quite in this context, right? But I have seen attorneys make errors or mislead the jurors, whether it's intentional or unintentional. And the solution, the curative or the remedy for that has always been a curative instruction. That is what I have seen in practice. Like if you're a Karen Reed supporter, you might not agree with it, but I like the fact that Brennan got up here and apologized, as opposed to making up some sort of excuse or, trying to cover up his tracks, anything or something along those lines.
Mr. Brennan's cross-examination, he asked Dr. Wolf about
Brandon's cross-examination.
instruction. And so I think what should happen is there should be a curative instruction.
Oh.
There should be a stipulation. The court should instruct the jury that during Mr. Brennan's cross-examination, he asked Dr. Wolf about holes on the sweatshirt or holes on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's sweatshirt. The parties agree the holes were made by a crime lab technician. This was done inadvertently.
We go back to, and that's why initially I had a hard time trying to figure out who is the better attorney between Brennan and Lewin. I've been calling that man Lewin. I think that's his name. If it's not his name, then I think his name is Lewin, though. So if we go back to that A$AP Rocky trial, when Mr. Lewin started stipulating to, it was really mostly during Riley's testimony, because Riley was really, really, really problematic. But he found a solution or a way around that. And that is what we're seeing from Brennan here. And to me, this was the right thing to do.
But should not have been asked. The court should.
Here's the difference. Part of, again, most of these people, not most, I think all of them actually, I don't know if they memorize their question. I mean, generally you do have to know your subject in order to effectively cross-examine or even direct it. Direct is actually very easy. Direct testimony, that's usually easy to elicit, unless you just don't know how to ask non-leading questions. If you don't know how to ask non-leading questions, then you have a problem. But the one thing about these attorneys, they don't pre-write. They don't write out their questions. If they did, then maybe they memorize all their questions. I don't know how you do that and not possibly blow your brains out or whatever. But again, they don't have scripts that they're reading from. They're not they're not relying on a specific script. They're relying on memory, some of it memory, other times a general area or whatever it is that they're whatever their general, what is this? Their general or the general subject that they're cross-examining on.
Strike the questions and the answers. And you should instruct the jury they are to completely disregard any questions or answers about the holes in the back of the sweatshirt. And the court should allow the defense to introduce the lab paperwork.
You see,
All
this
right.
is again, this man has integrity, because another prosecutor, if I don't want to bring up Love up here, I really don't want to bring up Love, but that's the only person I can think of right now. If this was Love, she would come up here complaining and crying and doing all types of things. And a prosecutor with no integrity would not have suggested that the judge actually allow the defense to bring in the lab paperwork.
So I'm not going to allow the mistrial motion, Mr. Lessie. What I'm going to do is instruct the jurors. I'm going to put in what's been marked for identification, Y, Z,
I missed a lot.
A, and B.
I
4
missed.
of each letters. I'm going to put all these into evidence.
Hold on, no, I think I'm on track.
They can be displayed for the jury, and I'm going to instruct the jury.
Brooklyn, if he's made a mistake, he's made a mistake, and he owned up to it. I don't see the real issue with that. To me, it would have, from a prosecutorial perspective, it would have been more problematic if Brennan is confronted with the fact and he still goes up there and claim that those are not due to, or the holes or the cuts or whatever are not due to the criminalist inspecting the clothes or whatever it is that they did to the hoodie. Ali says he didn't pull a DA Love and try and hide, covering up her misleading of everything. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. To me, that is what makes a good prosecutor. And that's why I still think, again, we're going to see probably Let me see. I'm trying to go to the Idaho case. I don't know. The Idaho, I think, the Idaho case, I think the prosecution in that case probably have a better case. The defense, that's just a difficult defense. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. That's just gonna be difficult. So Brooklyn says, why should the jury trust anything from the Commonwealth? It happened to us in one day with the X-rays. I don't exactly, that is up to them. So they get to assess credibility. They get to assess what it is that persuaded them, dissuaded them. So that's really up to the jurors. But as far as the law is concerned, the curative instruction is the way to go about that issue.
That during the cross-examination,
I don't want to listen to Bev Canoni. Let's see. What happens? Oh, they just move on? Oh, they just move on. Oh, they just move on to the next witness. So, okay, tomorrow let us do cross-examination, but I still have to go back. I need to listen to the rest of this cross. I just don't have time right now. It's 10:17. I'd like to be in bed by 11. I don't know that I'll be in bed by 11, but that is what I'm hoping to do. And I'm really exhausted. I'm exhausted. So I need to power up. Okay. So again, listen, we're going to have 2 live streams tomorrow. The first, I am going to schedule that for 4 p.m. Okay. I'm going to schedule that for 4 p.m. But if I do return home sooner than that, then I will change the time and I will give like 15 minutes notice. Okay. Whatever. If I show up here at what 3:30, then I'll just change the time to 3:45, something along those lines. And then I'll schedule another. Oh, Brooklyn, I'm sorry you cannot join us tomorrow. Yeah, because tomorrow's Friday. And then I'll schedule another live from 9 p.m. And that's just gonna allow us to get through the not cross examination. It's gonna allow us to get through the closing arguments. And then on Saturday, I don't have a time set for Saturday yet. We'll figure it out. But on Saturday, I want to go back to Dr. Wolf because that's really the defense witness that I am interested in. So that's what we are doing. Brooklyn says, what's your estimate for a verdict? I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, you mean by tomorrow or Monday? Cannot be tomorrow. And the reason why I'm saying it cannot be tomorrow is if the jurors have a verdict tomorrow, that to me, in essence, signals that this was not an impartial jury to begin with. And I did have concerns about whether this would be an impartial jury just because of the pretrial publicity. Okay. So if there's a verdict tomorrow, that's just my opinion, not an impartial jury to begin with. If there's a verdict on Monday, I maintain the same position. Let's see. So that would put them, I would think by Wednesday or Friday. And again, it's going to depend on what it is that they are arguing about, because there's a lot of testimony. Today's what? June something. I don't know. June something. We're mid-June. The trial started about mid-April. I know jury selection started April 1st, but that's not when the actual trial commenced. So the trial commenced about mid-April. Testimony for over or close to 2 months. There's no way they reach a verdict in 2 days if that's in fact an impartial jury. This is not one of those Lori Vallow Daybell trials. Her second trial was actually really quick, right? When did they start? Last week? Yeah, they started last week, and this week or today, they convicted. So let's see. All right, folks, I am calling it a night. You guys know I can talk and talk and talk. I'm like a Leslie. Shout out to Benji. Good to know that you're here. Okay, so Benji, I don't know if you heard that. We're live streaming this weekend. So we're live streaming to what day is it today? Yeah, we're live streaming tomorrow. So I'm scheduling 2 live streams tomorrow. And then we're live streaming on Saturday. For Saturday, I still don't have a time. Uh, Possibly we could go into Sunday, but let's try and get a lot of Wolf done on Saturday. That is my hope. That is my hope. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'm calling it a night. I've said that like 1,000 times already. But let's reconvene tomorrow. I'll schedule the lives now. The earlier live, we will work with, again, we'll just tinker with that. We'll tinker with that. We'll tinker with a lot of that. Folks, I really need to go. I need to go. I'm going. I'm leaving. Okay. You guys have a good night. Have a good Friday. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. If you, that's not a real thing. I don't think it's a real thing, but I don't know. If you're one of those people that believe in the supernatural, okay? Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. So be on your P's and Q's. Be on your best behavior. All right. All right. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.